the taste from last year, from the last year final game against ASU, Arizona Wildcats against ASU, uh, Sun Devils, is still quite bitter in my mouth right now. But today's game, Arizona Wildcats win against the Arizona State Sun Devils. The final score was 73 to 58. Um, but back to last year's game. Arizona was really close to making it into the tournament and going into the big dance, kind of a bubble team. And they were going to make it. They might make it if they won this final game against ASU, but ASU had other ideas, and ASU actually took the Wildcats down as a surprise ending to the season, and it was ugly. It totally deflated the Arizona Wildcats, and so the Arizona Wildcats ended up playing in the NIT. But all that aside, the Arizona Wildcats get a little bit of redemption, just a little bit, not much, because that was pretty painful, that loss last year. But they did have a little bit of redemption this year, and it was a kind of a somewhat complete game for the Arizona Wildcats. They played pretty good. They played a pretty much a total 40-minute game, pretty good. So it was nice for those seniors to have a final um, have a final victory at McHale Center, because this was their last games at McHale Center. The seniors, the Arizona Wildcats seniors, um, Solomon Hill, senior, Kevin Parham, senior, Mark Lyons, senior, although he's only 1 year. He's been with the Arizona Wildcats. Max Weepking, senior. Quentin Crawford, senior. So, even though Max Weepking and Quentin Crawford didn't make points in their senior game um, at McHale against the Arizona State Wildcats, or Arizona. That was a bad one. That was a bad one. Arizona State Sun Devils. The Max Weepking and Quentin Crawford still did pretty nice. And anyway, there was a lot of stats that were in the favor of the Arizona Wildcats and why they won this game. One of the big stats was total rebounds. Um, 13 offensive rebounds for the Arizona Wildcats as compared to 3, I think, offensive rebounds for the Arizona State Sun Devils. So that was a big one. Offensive rebounds was a big, 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 big thing. Another thing that was a big, big stat was points in the paint. The Arizona Wildcats had 28 points in the paint. The Arizona Sun Devils had 20. Um, the ASU did pretty good as far as their shooting percentage, though. The Arizona State Sun Devils had 46% from field goal percentage was their field goal percentage, and they shot 40% from three-point land. ASU shot 40% from three-point land, so their shooting was pretty good beyond the arc, and they and just their total field goal percentage was pretty good. But the thing was this was such a, kind of a battle, and ASU just they got kicked out. A lot of their guys got kicked out. Chris Colvin, he got kicked out for uh, he had 5 fouls. Jordan Bakinski, he had 5 fouls, fouled out with 5 fouls. Uh, Jonathan Gillian fouled out with 5 fouls. Um, but if you look at Carrick Felix, I think he's a freshman. Yeah. He scored 22 points. Pretty good. Pretty good. And Jahi Carson scored 15 points. So I think that those it was there was a couple ASU players that made good contributions. Um, Even though the ASU Sun Devils, I mean, it was 20 point. ASU was losing by 20 points at one time in the second half, and those are kind of gimme buckets in the end. I want to say I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I don't know. Uh, but I think that they were given 5 points. As just consolation or something. But um, we had Mark Lyons didn't go too crazy on shooting 3 pointers, 3 point attempts. He had 2 for 6 from 3 point land. Um, Things that were really valuable, but it was really nice to see Nick Johnson. Even though he's not a senior, I think he's a sophomore this year. It was really nice to see his contribution because he had 17 points, uh, 2 for 4 from 3 point land. That's not bad at all. 6 for 11 from field goal percentage. Four defensive rebounds, 4 total offense. 4 total rebounds, 3 assists, 0 turnovers. That's a big one. Uh, for this season, we've always harped a whole lot on Mark Lyons for assists to turnovers. His assist to turnover ratio is really bad. And it was, like par for the course. It was bad this game. He had 3 turnovers and 0 assists. He was the only Wildcat that fouled out. I don't want him to feel I, I don't want him to feel bad. I don't want him to feel like he's not part of this team. He is part of this team. He's a heck of a contributor. And I think the guys on the radio were saying that. Well, a lot of guys on the radio are saying, if it wasn't for Mark Lyons, then the Arizona Wildcats wouldn't have won uh, probably 5 or 6 of their games. So he makes a heck of a contribution. I'm sure he does a lot of things that we aren't too happy about, but he and when you're under the big guns, which is the point guard, then and U of A is point guard university, so when you're the point guard, you're going to be under fire big time from the fans and from the rest of the nation and just all over the place. And so, I'm sure that he's been beaten down quite a bit. He only scored 2 out of 10 from field goal percentage, so he didn't have that great of a night field goal percentage. Um, but he ended up with 8 points. I don't want him to feel discouraged. I want him to play strong whenever we play whenever we play for the tournament, the Pac-12 tournament on the 14th through the 17th. I think that's when it is. I think we're gonna play Colorado. Uh, first. I think the University of Arizona is gonna play Colorado first. I know a couple guys uh, that live in Colorado, so it'll be interesting. Oh! Oh! So that'll be interesting to see what happens. We had, let's see, some guys that made some nice contributions. Grant, Jordan Mays made 1 out of 2 from three-point land, and his confidence is building. I would be interested to see how he does in the tournaments, in the Pac-12 tournament or in the NCAA tournament. He really came on. He really came on the scene and started playing really nicely in the NCAA tournament um, last. I think it was not last season, but the season before. So he can make really nice contributions right at the end. And it's nice to have that extra point. I think he is a true point guard. So it's just nice to have that extra player that can contribute. That you can count on making a basket or two or three, other than your heavy hitters like Mark Lyons and Kevin Parham and Nick Johnson. Caleb Tarczewski had nice contributions too. The freshman had nice contributions too. He had 9 points. Um, he was 4 for 4 from field goal percentage, so that's not too bad, man. Well, you can't get better than that. I mean, I shouldn't say not too bad because you can't get any better than that. As far as the offensive rebounds, um, kind of quiet. That someone that doesn't really contribute or doesn't show up so much on the stats. Brandon Ashley. He's kind of having a wavering season. So some games are some good and some games are some bad. But it was nice to have him. 4 offensive rebounds from Brendan Ashley, so that was really nice. How I put a real heavy weight on offensive rebounds. Kevin Parham had 2 offensive rebounds. Caleb Tarczewski had 2 offensive rebounds. So those are nice things. Let me see. Solomon Hill didn't have any offensive rebounds. I wish he did, but and it would have been nice to get some offensive rebounds from Nick Johnson, but it was really nice to see Nick Johnson showing up, really making an impact on this game. He had a total of 17 points, 3 steals, 3 assists, 0 turnovers. Um, he didn't have any blocks, but he made some really. I think he made one of those nice slam dunks. Today the slam dunk of the game type of situation. Really nice stuff from Nick Johnson. So anyway, the Wildcats get pretty decent defense. At least they contained ASU to under 50% from field goal percentage, so that's something. That's better than 61% I think they had against USC or UCLA. And speaking of UCLA, UCLA wins the conference title outright today with their victory today. And Oregon, horrible loss against Utah. I don't know what's going on with those guys. Um, but anyway, so I think we're tied for a three-way tie for second place or something. Oregon and Cal and Arizona Wildcats are a three-way tie for the second place. But anyway, I don't know about all the seeds and all that crap like that. But so it's a nice way to end the season and a nice way to end it for the seniors: Solomon Hill, Kevin Parham, Mark Lyons, Max Whitking, uh, Quentin Crawford. Uh, just a nice way for those guys to exit McHale on a victory. So the Arizona Wildcats win this game 73 to the Arizona State Sun Devils 58.
Fantastic. Let's talk to John. Hey, John, you're in the house.
What's going on? Kevin?
What's happening, John?
We had some pretty significant losses yesterday. UCLA lost yesterday. Stanford lost yesterday. Cal lost yesterday. USC lost yesterday. I'm wondering, do we have a chance, since all these losses occurred, do we have a chance to get back in there and maybe win?
I do not believe so.
No, Arizona is mathematically unable to win a regular season conference title.
Yeah.
So we don't know. There's nothing. There's no. There's no luck.
They would have to win the tournament, but they can win the regular season.
They can't
win
the regular season. They're looking still, even with all the losses last night, John, of being the 4 seed or the 5 seed, one of the two.
Oh, okay. And another thing, we have to get a new guy that's just mandatory. We gotta have that.
I agree with you, John.
Yeah,
I think it's got to be something that the school addresses specifically. I would not even leave it up to the UA man. I mean, I would have him involved, but I think it'd be great if the school went to him and said, "Here's what we'd like to do," and as sort of a way to honor you. And would you like to be involved in making the decision on who's going to be the next? And it can be an UA girl. I'm perfectly fine with that, as long as she doesn't have to rush into a burning building. Then then that's all I need.
That sounds kind of cool. Having a girl do it.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
You just want to see a girl take her.
You just want to see a girl take her clothes off. Let's call it what it is. Thanks for the phone call, John. We appreciate it. Thanks. 880-1290 is the phone number to call.